Hi guys. So about 3 weeks ago, I was having a conversation with a business partner of mine in Dubai about we're talking about some aspects of Africa's crisis, and I was of the view, and I was telling him that I personally believe that Africa's core problem is that we need more of administrators to bridge developmental gaps than politicians. And I was telling him, I said, I personally believe that our problem is that we do not necessarily have administrators at the heart of what we do. And so the fact that somebody is a politician does not necessarily mean or does not translate into the fact that the person is an administrator. First and foremost, I am of the view that life as we have it is an unending journey where we're constantly learning. And so the more we learn, the more we discover knowledge, the more we come in contact with new knowledge. We appreciate the fact that we knew nothing at all. And so the guy who is not learning has a stagnant life. The guy who is not learning never progresses in life. And so today's conversation is actually stemming from that discussion I had with my business partner Hafiz. And whilst the conversation was ongoing, he asked me, he said, so Moses, if you were to come up with 10 rules that will be a guide to leadership, a guide for any leader out there, any political figure out there to pick and use in their day-to-day administrative work, what would it be? And so today I present to you guys MBA's 10 rules for effective leadership. MBA is my name, obviously. Moses Braintuat, and Masters in Business Administration. Somebody commented on one of my tweets and said, even the initials of my name shows that I'm a scholarly person, and I love that. But today we're looking at MBA's 10 rules for effective leadership, and I am of the view that the things that I'll be sharing with you, these 10 rules are things that have come out from my own humble experience and my own journey trying to lead people and trying to build a business in this part of the world. And so I hope that this content opens up your eyes as a leader, lights your path, and then makes you reconsider a couple of decisions that you want to take. And so we're looking at MBA's 10 rules, my 10 rules for effective leadership. The first rule number one, it reminds me of the song Meek Mill's Respect the Game when I just said rule number one. Meek Mill says, rule number one, never count your homie's pocket thinking you deserve it, in his song Respect the Game. But this is not Respect the Game by Meek Mill. This is Leadership by Meek Mo. So please follow the conversation. Now, rule number one is to serve your people. I want you to understand that the first task of leadership is towards a people. You are a leader because people put you in there. The first rule for leadership that I always subscribe to is to serve the people. A leader who does not serve the people actually is somebody who is building himself up for doom. So what do? You serve the people, and then the people serve the vision. That is how you start. And so that is my first rule for leadership. You need to understand that leadership is all about serving the people. The people put you in there. And so you need to make sure that at the end of the day, every single decision, every action that you are doing is geared towards the people. The next thing you need to understand, which is my second rule, is that do not worship the position. When you take a critical look at Africa and how that somebody becomes a leader politically or whatever, the next moment you see is the person begins to worship the position. And so they forget that they are in that position because of work and not necessarily because of the position. And so people begin to lord over people the moment they gain rank in a particular position or in a particular industry. They want you to know that they are the so and so of this, they are the so and so of that. But you see, it's not really about the position. Somebody may not necessarily have a position, but will be making tremendous impact in society simply because they understand my first rule, which is to serve the people. We're in here not to serve the position or not to worship the position, but to serve people. That is rule number two. Rule number three is that you need to set your plan. You need to have a plan. As a leader, it is important that you do not just think in the short term. You need to think of what the weeks ahead will look like, what the years ahead will look like. A true visionary leader is one who is able to understand that if he does not have a plan, then he's setting himself up for failure. And so it's important for you to appreciate and understand the dynamics of leadership and understand that a plan is very essential. A plan is very important to your role and your service to the people that have been called, or the people that you have been called to. You need a plan. It's very important that you don't think short term, but you think long term. You should be able to come up, anticipate problems that will happen in the organization, in the business, in whatever thing you are leading over, and mitigate, come up with strategies to mitigate these problems. It is very, very, very important. The fourth rule that I talk about is to monitor yourself. One of the things that I do very well in my day-to-day life is what I call self-reflections. Oftentimes when my day is ending and I'm lying down in bed, I reflect on my day. I do a lot of reflections. It's important that as a leader in your organization, you have somebody that monitors the things that go on in the organization internally, and you need a third party to also come in to make sure that they are monitoring whatever thing that's going on externally. And then you need somebody that makes sure that you, the leader, is in check. It is very, very important. Now, for most of the times, leaders do not want to find themselves being put to check. But for me, I've always said that in Penyumfor say, Nyodi asanim se nichiachia. So for the purpose of our international audience, I want to translate that in English. Nyodi asanim se nichiachia. The guy who is dancing does not know that his back is crooked. And so oftentimes when you're charting a path, it's so easy for somebody who is like your third eye to just stand back and look at what you are doing and go like, Moses, do it this way, Solomon, do it that way, Jennifer, do it that way, Sika, do it that way, Felix, do it this way. It's very, very, very important. So you need systems of advantages that make you monitor yourself. That is rule number 4. Very, very important. Rule number 5 says, build your team. Rule number 5, build your team. Leaders, it is important to understand you cannot soar alone. A single hand cannot clap. This is my hand. How would this thing clap? But you see, another hand comes together for us to get a clap. So you can't soar alone. A single hand cannot clap, which means that as a leader, it's important to throw the spotlight on your people, guide them, nurture them, teach them, grow and evolve with them. And you see, this for me is very, very paramount. I remember I was watching one of Kevin Hart's documentary on Netflix, and he spoke about how that his first marriage crashed because the more he was evolving as a man, he realized that he was way up here at a certain point in his journey, and his first wife was not up there. So in his second marriage, he decided that when he moves, she moves. When he moves, she moves. What does this mean for those of us as men who want to settle down home in a family and all of that? It's important to make sure that every aspect of your home, your wife, your kids, everybody is growing at a certain pace. It's important. Build your team, build your tribe, build the people, invest in the people that make sure that your vision ultimately every day is coming to pass and every day is becoming a reality. That for me is rule number 5. What then is rule number 6? Rule number 6 for me is innovate or leave. Innovate or leave. And I say it without flinching or anything. Innovate or leave. We live in a world where things are moving very, very fast, exponentially. Technology is taking over. Imagine how that the US economy is expected to slash 700,000 jobs in the first 4 months of this year 2023. Last year 2022 we saw Mark Zuckerberg lay off over 11,000 people from Meta. You see, it's not simply because there's a recession that's coming, it's also because of the emergence of AI and technology taking over people's jobs. For instance, if you're somebody whose jobs and whose profession was a dietitian, as I speak to you now, there are apps that all you need to do is key in your data and then the app will generate your meal plan for you. And so it's so important that you appreciate the way the world as we have it is going. Today, I do not necessarily need a full video editor to come and edit my videos when all I need is captions and InShots and VN editors. So AI, as we speak, it is taking over people's jobs, and not necessarily because of the recession. And so as a business, what does this mean for you? Are you innovating? Because if you do not innovate, you'll be boxed out of the system. And so it's very, very important. Today, we see the emergence of ChatGPT. Google is bringing their own artificial intelligence chat system, just like ChatGPT. And so these are things that we need to appreciate and understand as leaders, is the fact that we need to constantly be on the lookout for rooms to innovate and rooms to scale what we do. Rule number 7. Rule number 7 says communicate and be optimistic. It's important that effective quality communication is introduced in your day-to-day dealings as a leader. You need to be very optimistic because your people feed off your energy. But most importantly, it's important that you communicate. There should be a system that runs proper communication in any organization that you lead or in any system that you find yourself in. And so that for me is rule number 7. Rule number 8 is compete. Rule number 8 is compete. Competition is very, very important in the world as we have it today. For me, I always say that there are 4 categories of people you should have, and one of them are the people in your life that are competitors. I always say you need energizer friends. They ginger you to become the best version of yourself. So competition is very, very important. Rule number 8 is for you to compete. I remember, I think 2 years or 3 years ago, during the Ballon d'Or line, Messi was sitting by Cristiano Ronaldo, and Ronaldo passed the comment and said he believes that it's never happened in the history of football where 2 giants, the 2 of them, played 15 years back to back at each other. Those times when you hear El Clasico, you were super excited because Ronaldo is about to face Messi. Today, even when they are playing in different parts of the world, you can still see that competition strongly in there. I think when Ronaldo moved to his new club, quickly they had to arrange a friendlies between them and PSG just for everybody to have that Ronaldo Messi vibe, and so competition is very, very important. Positive competition. Now my ninth rule that I believe that anybody who is running an organization, who leads people, should know is create leaders. Anybody who is leading a group of people, who is creating leaders, is creating the future. It is very, very important. As you are leading people, you need to have a bigger picture in mind. You ought to create leaders. You ought to create leaders. Make sure that every single action, every single decision, every single roadmap is focused and targeted at making sure that these people are becoming the better and best versions of themselves in order to be able to multiply that into others. And so it's very, very important that rule number 9, you create leaders. And then rule number 10, you create a meaningful life, or you live a meaningful life. It is very, very important because the people that you are leading oftentimes pick and draw their energies from you and will ultimately become a certain version of you. And so it's important that after all of this, as you carry on with your day-to-day activities, you make sure that you are living and leading a meaningful life. And so this is my 10 rules for effective leadership. And so if you like this content, like, share, comment, make sure you're subscribed to this channel. It's a place where we're constantly bringing you back to back value. And so I hope that this content blessed you. My name is Moses B. Arthur. Love and light. Cheers, guys.